Alien girl let human try on her ancestors' armor as a joke, but it awakened hidden powers. Most humans there were young and nervous. They had not been in space for long, and the galaxy treated them as weak. Ethan liked it that way. He could focus on machines and circuits, on engines and wires, without having to worry about politics or battles. He was small and thin, with brown hair that always fell in his eyes. He liked it that way too, quiet and unnoticed. The station was alive with aliens. Some were tall and slim, with long necks and shining skin. Others had eyes that glowed like moons. Ethan had learned to recognize them all, to know which ones liked humans and which ones did not. He moved carefully among them, fixing broken panels and repairing engines. He never tried to impress anyone. He only wanted to do his work well. Sometimes, late at night, he would stand at the station windows and watch stars move. He wondered how anyone could feel small in such a vast universe. But humans were small, and everyone else seemed so big. Lyra Venn was not small. She walked with a confident step, her shoulders straight and her head high. She was from a species of warriors who had ruled many planets long ago. Her people had strength, skill, and long memories of battle. Lyra herself was young, but she carried the pride of her ancestors in everything she did. She had dark green eyes that could pierce a person's thoughts, or so it seemed. She liked to laugh, but only sometimes. Most of the time, she watched the humans with curiosity. They were strange to her, soft, fragile, yet brave in ways she did not expect. Lyra had a treasure. It was an armor, not just any armor, but one passed down through generations. It was made of shining plates that seemed alive. The surface moved slightly, like water frozen in metal. No one could wear it except her people, and even then only the chosen bloodline. It was said that if the wrong person tried it, the armor would burn their skin or crush their bones. It was sacred, dangerous, and powerful. Lyra kept it in a sealed room under watch and care. She loved it, but she also knew it was a joke to let anyone even touch it. One evening, Ethan was called to help with a power surge in the East Wing. Lyra was there, supervising the aliens and humans working together. She looked at Ethan as he adjusted the energy coils, his hands moving carefully, his forehead wet with sweat. He did not notice her staring. She had an idea, a joke, nothing serious, just a moment to tease him. She walked toward the sealed room where her ancestors' armor rested. "Ethan," she said, her voice light, "want to see something fun?" Ethan looked up, startled. He wiped his hands on his pants. "Oh, what is it?" he asked. His voice was small. He did not expect her to speak to him directly. Humans rarely got attention here. Lyra smiled, and that smile was sharp and bright. "Come on," she said. "I'll show you my family's old armor. You can try it just for fun." She laughed softly like it was a harmless game. Ethan felt nervous. He had seen the armor once before behind the glass. It looked alive even from a distance. He shook his head. I don't think I should," he said. "It's dangerous." Lyra's laugh grew. "Dangerous, maybe, boring, yes, I dare you," she said. "Just try it, it won't hurt, I promise." "It is a joke anyway." She pushed the glass door slightly open. The armor glowed faintly in the room light. Ethan stared. It was beautiful, smooth plates, sharp edges, and a glow that seemed to move like breathing. He had never touched anything like it. His mind raced. He knew he should step back. Every instinct told him not to. But curiosity and maybe a desire to impress pulled him forward. Lyra watched, amused. She did not think anything would happen. No human had ever worn the armor. It was impossible. She thought about the stories. Only the blood of her ancestors could awaken it. Only the strong, the worthy, the chosen. Humans did not belong in those stories, yet here was Ethan, stepping closer, his hands shaking slightly. He reached out, and the armor's surface shimmered. A soft light ran across the plates like water in the sunlight. Lyra's smile faltered for a moment. Something strange was happening. She shook her head. "It's just a joke," she whispered to herself. Ethan paused, his fingers touching the armor. It was cold at first, then warm, as if it recognized him. He looked at Lyra, but her face was serious now. "It's okay?" he asked. He had no idea what he had done. The glow around the armor grew brighter, spreading to the room. The air felt heavy, electric. Lyra's eyes widened. She stepped forward. "Wait, Ethan, don't!" she shouted, but the armor had already begun to move. Plates shifted, opening slightly, inviting him in. Ethan's heart raced. Fear and excitement mixed together. He had never felt anything like this. He slowly stepped forward, sliding one arm, then the other into the armor. The moment the armor touched his skin, a shock ran through him. Not pain, not fear, but a strange awareness. He felt stronger, taller, sharper. Memories that were not his own entered his mind. Images of battles, of alien worlds, of warriors he had never met. He stumbled back, trying to understand. Lyra grabbed his shoulder. You are wearing it," she said, voice trembling. She did not move closer, afraid the armor would react violently. How is this possible?" she whispered. She knew the stories. She knew humans were weak. She knew humans could not survive the armor, yet here he stood, calm, breathing, his eyes wide but steady. The armor had chosen him, the room filled with a hum. The armor's glow painted Ethan's face green and gold. Alien scientists outside the room rushed in, hearing the alarm. They stared. A human, alive, calm, wearing armor no human had ever worn, murmurs spread. Lyra's friends stepped back, afraid of what would happen. Some whispered that it was a sign, others that it was madness. Ethan, meanwhile, felt a strange calm. The images in his mind were like lessons, not commands. He saw warriors fighting, but he also saw mercy, bravery, and wisdom. The armor was teaching him, not controlling him. He looked at Lyra. It's okay," he said. I'm fine." She wanted to believe him, but she could not. She had seen the armor reject warriors weaker than her. Humans had always failed. For hours, Ethan stood in the armor, learning without knowing it. He practiced small movements. He lifted weights that would have crushed a normal human. He moved faster than any human should, yet his mind remained his own. He smiled at Lyra, not out of pride, but out of wonder. She shook her head, unsure whether to laugh or cry. She had meant it as a joke. She had wanted a funny story to tell later. Instead, she had awakened something unknown. By the time the station's shift ended, word had spread. Humans from other parts of the station came to see. Aliens whispered among themselves. Some feared him. Some were amazed. Ethan did not boast. He just stood, learning to move with the armor, feeling the energy inside him. Lyra stayed close, guiding him gently, afraid to let him touch the wrong part of the armor. She realized something important. This human was different. Not stronger because of the armor, but because the armor had found something already inside him. As the stars moved outside the window, Ethan and Lyra talked quietly. He asked about the armor's history, about her ancestors, about the battles he could barely imagine. She answered carefully, realizing she had underestimated humans. The armor hummed softly, as if listening to their conversation, approving of the calm and respect between them. Ethan did not seek glory. He did not want power. He only wanted to understand. For the first time, Lyra felt hope. Humans might not be weak. Maybe, just maybe, they could rise. That night the station slept uneasily. Aliens watched from windows, their eyes filled with fear and curiosity. Human engineers whispered in the halls. A joke had become legend in hours. And Ethan, still wearing the armor, felt something he had never felt before. He belonged. Not just on the station, but in a story far larger than himself. He did not know what the galaxy would do when it realized a human could wear the armor. He did not know what dangers awaited. But for now, he simply breathed, listened to the hum of the armor, and wondered at the universe, knowing that the joke had changed everything. Ethan could still feel the hum of the armor as he moved carefully through the station corridors. Every step he took was different now. He was not faster than a normal human yet, but every movement felt smoother, more precise. He could sense the energy in the station, the slight vibrations of machines, even the small pulse of life in the walls. It was strange, but he did not feel afraid. Instead, he felt alive, aware, like he had been asleep all his life and now had woken up. Lyra followed closely behind. She had stayed near him ever since the armor had opened for him. She had watched humans, studied them, but she had never thought one could survive what Ethan had just experienced. She could see the armor glowing faintly on his chest, the plates moving as if they were breathing. Her heart beat fast. She did not want to admit it, but she was a little afraid of him. She had dared him to wear it as a joke. She had expected laughter, not this. Now, every step he took seemed to show that the joke had gone far beyond anything she could imagine. "Ethan," she whispered, do you feel it, the armor?" Ethan turned to her, his eyes wide but calm. "I feel it," he said. "It's like it knows me, it's not trying to hurt me, it's helping me. I don't know how, but I feel stronger, not just in my body, in my mind too." Lyra's green eyes widened. "Helping you? Humans, you're not supposed to, you're not meant to survive it." She shook her head, unable to believe what she was seeing. The elders of her people had always said humans were weak, fragile, and short-lived. They were simple creatures with curiosity but little strength. Yet here was Ethan, wearing armor that had rejected warriors stronger than most aliens, moving as if it was part of him. They stopped near the observation deck. The view of the galaxy stretched before them, stars and planets shining in silence. Ethan lifted his hands and flexed them. The armor plates moved with him, almost like water. He felt energy running through his veins. He could sense the hum of engines, the flow of energy in the station, even the tiny movements of the crew below. It was overwhelming and yet comforting. "What's happening to me?" he asked, more to himself than to Lyra. He felt the power building inside, but it was not wild or dangerous. It was controlled, guided by something he could not see. He lifted his arm, and a small panel from a nearby control station lifted slowly into the air. He had not intended it. It was as if the armor had reacted to his curiosity. Lyra gasped. You're moving it without touching it." She could hardly believe her eyes. Humans were not supposed to have this kind of control. She had seen her people, trained in war for centuries, and only the most skilled could do this. And they had bloodlines of power that went back millennia. Ethan had no such history. Yet somehow he had awakened something ancient, something that belonged to the armor and now belonged to him. The alarm sounded suddenly. Lights blinked red. Alien scientists rushed into the observation deck. They had seen Ethan in the armor hours before and had been unsure what to do. Now they knew. A human had bonded with an ancient weapon, and it was responding to him. Whispers and panic spread through the station. Some aliens thought it was a blessing, some thought it was dangerous. A few simply stared, afraid to move. One of the elders, a tall alien named Kale Var, stepped forward. His eyes glowed faintly. "This is impossible," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "A human should not be able to wear that armor. It is forbidden. It should have burned him, killed him." He stared at Ethan, his mind racing. He had seen warriors die when they tried the armor. Some had survived, but only barely, and only the chosen bloodline could control it fully. Ethan had done more than survive. He had bonded. Ethan lowered the floating panel carefully. I don't know why," he said. "I just tried it. It let me. I feel it like it wants me to understand, not to fight." Kelvar frowned. "Understand? The armor does not teach humans. It chooses warriors. It awakens strength, skill, power. Humans, you are not warriors." Ethan shook his head slowly. "Maybe humans are different," he said. "We survive in ways you don't see. We learn from small things, from mistakes, from curiosity. Maybe the armor, it sees that in me." Lyra stepped closer, her voice soft. "Ethan, you have no idea what this could mean. The galaxy, if they see you, if they know, it could start wars. Some will want the armor, some will want to destroy it. You could be in danger." Ethan looked out the window at the stars beyond the station. "I know," he said quietly, "but I don't want to hide. If this is real, if this is happening, I have to learn, I have to try." The elder Kael'var shook his head. "Humans are fragile. They do not survive long enough to learn anything important. We are centuries old. We know power. We know battle. We know life and death." Ethan's eyes narrowed slightly. "Maybe that's why it works. Maybe humans survive because we adapt. We don't need centuries to learn. We just do what we must. We grow fast when we have to. Maybe the armor senses that." Kael'var said nothing. He could not deny it, and yet he feared it. The armor was ancient, alive in ways that no human had ever touched. And now it was alive in Ethan. Over the next hours, Ethan learned more. He could move faster, but not recklessly. He could lift heavy objects without strain, yet he was gentle. He could sense the station's energy flows, feel the vibrations of machines, and anticipate small accidents before they happened. He was not a weapon yet, but he had the potential to be one. Lyra stayed beside him, guiding him carefully. She had begun to trust him, but she also feared what he could become. As the humans and aliens watched, Ethan discovered more about the armor's power. It responded not to strength alone, but to his thoughts, his intentions, and his emotions. It would not let him harm others. It would enhance his abilities, but only if he acted wisely. He practiced, slowly at first, moving small objects, adjusting machines with a touch, sensing weak points in structures. Every success made him more confident, but he remained humble. He knew this power was not his own. It belonged to the armor, and now it had chosen him as its partner. Lyra noticed something remarkable. The armor did not just amplify human strength or agility. It seemed to awaken something already inside Ethan. He was not a natural fighter, not a soldier. He was kind, careful, and thoughtful, and those qualities, combined with the armor, made him extraordinary. Lyra had seen warriors like her try to control the armor, and they failed because they were too proud, too harsh, too focused on strength. Ethan had none of that pride. He had curiosity, patience, and respect. The station's alarms continued to beep occasionally, warning of small malfunctions, but Ethan felt them all. He could sense the danger before it happened. He prevented small accidents, saved a falling engineer from being crushed, and adjusted failing circuits before the machines broke completely. Whispers spread among the crew. Humans had always been underestimated, but now they were witnessing something new. Later, when the station was quieter, Ethan and Lyra stood together in the central hall. She looked at him carefully. "I don't understand," she said softly. "You're human, you're supposed to be fragile, you're supposed to fail." Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe humans are stronger than you think. Maybe we survive because we learn, not because we are born strong. Maybe the armor saw that in me." Lyra shook her head, but she could not argue. She had seen it. She had felt it. She had witnessed a human bonding with an artifact that had chosen warriors for centuries, and the human was alive, calm, and learning. She realized something important. Humans could survive in ways aliens did not understand. They could endure, adapt, and grow. They could awaken power without seeking it. The night passed slowly. Ethan practiced, guided by Lyra. Small sparks of power flickered around him as he moved, but he did not fear them. He had learned to control them. He could feel the station responding to him, as if it trusted him. He could feel Lyra's presence beside him, steady and watchful. Together, they explored what the armor could do without arrogance, without fear. As the stars moved beyond the windows, Ethan felt a sense of calm determination. He did not know what the future held, or how the galaxy would react when it discovered a human with ancient alien power. He did not know if other factions would come to take the armor or destroy it. But he knew one thing: he would learn, he would adapt, and he would survive. The armor had awakened something, and it had chosen him. He would honor that trust, no matter the danger. And somewhere deep inside, Lyra realized that the joke she had made, daring a human to wear her ancestors' armor, had changed everything. Not just for Ethan, not just for humans, but for the entire galaxy. She did not yet understand how, but she could feel it. The future had shifted. A human could no longer be seen as weak. A new kind of strength had been born. Word traveled fast across the station and beyond. A human had bonded with alien armor, and the news could not be contained. Whispers ran through the corridors like wildfire. Some aliens stared with fear, others with fascination. Humans had always been underestimated, seen as weak and fragile. Now one human had done something no alien had ever expected. Ethan moved carefully through the station, the armor still glowing softly around him. It did not just make him strong, it made him aware. He could sense life and energy around him, and it responded to his thoughts and intentions. Small machines repaired themselves when he focused, circuits hummed in perfect balance, and structures seemed to shift subtly to accommodate him. He did not understand all of it yet, but he could feel the power inside. Lyra walked beside him, guiding him carefully. She had been worried at first, but now she felt awe. The human she had dared to wear her ancestors' armor was not reckless or cruel. He was thoughtful, careful, and calm. The armor had awakened something in him, but it did not control him. It enhanced what was already inside. And that was what made it so unusual. "Ethan," Lyra whispered as they entered the main observation hall, "the others, they are watching. Every faction, every ship nearby, they know. Some are curious, some are afraid. They will want to see what you can do." Ethan nodded slowly. He felt the weight of responsibility, but he was not afraid. I will not hurt anyone," he said quietly. "I just want to learn, I just want to understand." As if on cue, alarms rang across the station. Alien officials rushed in, some angry, some panicked. Emissaries from nearby systems had arrived, demanding to see the human wearing the armor. Some whispered that humans were not supposed to survive such tests. Others argued that the armor should be destroyed before it caused harm. Ethan stood calmly, the armor adjusting to his movements. He felt the power flowing through him, controlled and steady. An alien commander, tall and sharp-eyed, stepped forward. "Human," he said, his voice hard. "How do you survive that armor? It should have killed you. It should have rejected you instantly." Ethan looked at him. "I don't know," he said honestly. "It feels like it wants me to understand, not to fight. It listens to me, but I don't control it. It helps me see and learn, that's all." The commander frowned. He did not understand. He had seen the armor kill warriors, reject those who were too weak, too arrogant, too reckless. But this human, he survived. More than survived. He moved with awareness, calm and precise. The power was growing inside him, but it was guided by thought and kindness, not aggression. Whispers spread through the hall. The galaxy had never seen a human do something like this. Some older aliens who had lived for centuries feared what this could mean. Humans were underestimated, but maybe they were stronger than anyone had imagined. Ethan continued to move gently, practicing small lifts, adjusting broken machinery, sensing the energy flows of the station. He could feel even small fluctuations in engines before they happened. Alien engineers watched in awe as circuits corrected themselves, machines balanced their energy naturally. The human was learning, and the armor responded perfectly to his calm focus. Lyra realized something important. The armor did not just give strength or speed. It awakened hidden qualities inside Ethan: courage, patience, clarity, and control, traits that aliens often lacked. Warriors of her people had strength, skill, and centuries of training. Many failed because they sought power, not wisdom. Ethan had neither pride nor hunger for control. He had curiosity, care, and thoughtfulness. That was why he survived. That was why the armor responded. As hours passed, emissaries from neighboring systems arrived to witness him. They watched from observation decks, recording everything. Some murmured in fear. Some whispered that humans might be the key to a new kind of power. And some began to question everything they had been taught. Humans were supposed to be weak. Humans were supposed to fail. And yet, one human had awakened something that centuries of alien warriors had never achieved. Ethan practiced small movements, learning without words. He lifted objects effortlessly, moved faster than any human should, and yet remained calm. He sensed the energy of the station, guided power without harming anyone. He was not a weapon, he was a student, and the galaxy watched, afraid and amazed at the same time. Then came the first challenge. A nearby sector sent a warning. A hostile fleet was approaching the station. They had heard the news of the human and the armor. They wanted it for themselves. They were large, heavily armed, and determined. The station could not fight them alone. Panic spread among the aliens. Some wanted to evacuate. Others wanted to attack immediately. Lyra looked at Ethan. "They will come for you," she said. "They want the armor. They will not care about you or anyone else. You have to be ready." Ethan took a deep breath. He had no desire to fight, but he felt the armor guiding him, preparing him. He could sense weak points in the station's defenses, anticipate where attacks would come. The glowing plates on his body shifted as if aware of the approaching danger. I will protect them," he said simply. "Not because I want power, but because I have to." The fleet arrived quickly. Ships moved in formation, weapons charging. The station's defenses were not enough to stop them. Alarms blared. Aliens screamed orders, trying to organize a defense. Ethan moved through the corridors with the armor, lifting heavy doors, repairing broken systems instantly, guiding personnel to safety. He was everywhere at once, faster than anyone could follow. The enemy ships fired. Blasts hit the station, but Ethan anticipated each one. He guided energy flows, reinforced shields, and helped the crew escape. The armor enhanced him, but it did not change his nature. He did not attack the enemy with unnecessary violence. He defended, protected, and saved lives. Every move was precise, controlled, careful. The alien commander who had doubted him before watched in silence. He could not believe what he saw. A human, calm and composed, moving with perfect awareness, protecting the station. The alien elders whispered among themselves. Humans, maybe they were not weak after all. Maybe they could be more than they imagined. As the battle continued, Ethan discovered new abilities. He could sense weaknesses in the enemy's weapons and shields, anticipate their movements before they fired. He did not attack aggressively, but he guided the station's defenses perfectly. He moved as if the station itself were part of him. Aliens who had trained for centuries could not match his control. Lyra stayed beside him, helping him focus. She could see the power inside him, but she could also see his heart. He had no desire to conquer, no desire to rule. He only wanted to protect, to learn, to survive, and that was something the galaxy had never expected from a human. Hours passed. The enemy fleet finally retreated, confused and defeated. They had not faced a weapon or a warrior. They had faced a human who did not seek to fight, a human who survived, adapted, and used his mind and heart. The armor had amplified what was already inside him. Courage, clarity, wisdom. It had not made him a monster, it had made him a protector. After the battle, the station was quiet. Aliens gathered, murmuring in disbelief. Humans who had seen Ethan stood in awe. For the first time, they felt pride. A human had done something extraordinary. Lyra looked at him, her green eyes shining. You did it," she said softly. "You survived, you protected everyone. I don't know how to explain it. The armor, it chose you, but it also respected you." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't do it alone," he said. "The armor helped and you helped, I just followed. I learned, I did what had to be done." The elders whispered among themselves. Centuries of experience told them this was impossible. Humans were weak. Humans could not survive, could not bond with artifacts like this. Yet here was the proof. A human had not only survived, but had protected a station, controlled power, and awakened something long forgotten. As the stars moved beyond the observation windows, Ethan and Lyra stood together. The galaxy was watching, and the human had already become more than a curiosity. He was a symbol. The symbol that humans could survive, adapt, and grow stronger in ways no one had imagined. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan felt a quiet determination. The galaxy might fear humans now, but he would not let that fear turn into war. He would learn, he would control, and he would protect. The armor had awakened something hidden, something powerful. And for the first time, humans were no longer seen as weak. They were seen as capable, adaptable, and strong. Lyra realized the truth. The joke she had made, daring a human to wear the armor, had shifted the balance. It was no longer about strength alone. It was about wisdom, courage, and the hidden potential of a species long underestimated. Ethan was not just a human wearing armor. He was a lesson to the galaxy, and the galaxy was watching. The warning came quickly. Sensors on the station blinked red, and alarms rang across every deck. A hostile fleet was approaching, larger and more powerful than any the station had faced before. They had heard the story of Ethan wearing the alien armor, and they wanted it. Some wanted to capture him, some wanted to destroy him, and some wanted to study the armor for their own gain. The station crew rushed to prepare defenses, but fear was in every face. Humans were always considered weak, and now one human had drawn the attention of enemies across the sector. Ethan stood in the central hall, the armor glowing softly around him. He felt the energy of the station, the vibrations of engines, and the pulse of life in every room. He could feel the fear and confusion around him, but he did not panic. The armor had awakened something inside him, something that made him aware, calm, and ready. Lyra stood beside him, her green eyes alert. She had fought battles before, but she had never seen anything like this. "Ethan," she said quietly, "they are coming for you. If they reach the station, they will not care about anyone else. You have to be ready." Ethan nodded. He did not want to fight, but he knew he could not hide. He had to protect the station and everyone on it. "I will protect them," he said simply, "not because I want power, but because I have to." The fleet arrived in full force. Massive ships moved into attack formation, weapons charging and shields glowing. The station's defenses were ready, but barely. The human crew and aliens alike stared in disbelief. A human was going to face an entire fleet, and yet there he stood, calm and determined. Ethan moved first. He ran through the corridors, the armor adjusting to his body with each step. He could sense weak points in the station's structure, damaged systems, and energy flows. He moved quickly, lifting heavy doors and repairing circuits that had failed under stress. Small sparks of energy flickered around him as the armor enhanced his movements. He was not reckless. He did not seek to attack. He only sought to protect. Aliens shouted orders, trying to organize the defense, but many froze, unsure what to do. The enemy fleet fired, and explosions shook the station. Ethan anticipated each blast. He guided energy through shields, reinforced damaged sections, and moved injured personnel to safety. The armor allowed him to act faster than any human should, but it did not change who he was. He remained careful, thoughtful, and kind. Lyra followed closely. She directed crews, but she also watched Ethan. She realized that the armor did not just make him strong or fast. It responded to his mind and heart. He could sense danger, but he did not act out of fear or aggression. He acted with care, protecting as many lives as possible. She had never seen a human do something like this. She had never seen anyone, alien or human, control power so calmly. The battle continued. Enemy ships fired repeatedly, but Ethan guided the station's defenses with precision. He could sense weaknesses in enemy weapons and shields. He did not destroy indiscriminately, but he guided energy and power to protect his friends and civilians. Humans and aliens alike stared in amazement. The human was not only surviving, he was controlling the battle in ways that no one had imagined. One ship breached the station's outer defenses, heading straight for the central hub. Ethan moved faster than any human could, intercepting it before it caused serious damage. He lifted massive panels, redirected energy flows, and guided the ship away without harming the crew. The armor glowed brightly, responding to his calm determination. He could feel every pulse of energy in the station and the incoming ship. It was like a dance, and he led it with careful steps. Alien commanders whispered among themselves. Centuries of training, decades of battle experience, and entire fleets had never achieved what they were seeing. A human, small and fragile, controlled the flow of energy and action perfectly. He did not act recklessly. He did not seek glory. He only sought to protect. Some began to reconsider their prejudice against humans. Maybe they had underestimated the species. Maybe humans could survive and adapt in ways aliens could not understand. As the hours passed, Ethan continued to guide the defense. He lifted fallen beams, repaired failing circuits, and predicted enemy movements. He moved like a shadow, present everywhere at once. The armor responded to his intentions, amplifying his abilities without taking control. He felt his senses sharpen. He could feel the vibrations of enemy weapons, the heat of their engines, the pressure of approaching ships. Every moment was a test, and he passed it calmly and wisely. Lyra realized something important. The armor did not awaken power in Ethan. It awakened what was already inside him: courage, patience, awareness, and care. He had no desire to conquer or destroy. He had only the desire to protect and survive. That was something no alien warrior had ever shown when wearing the armor. Warriors often sought strength, power, and control. Ethan sought understanding, and that was why he succeeded. The enemy fleet was forced to retreat. They had not faced a weapon but a human who could anticipate and control energy. They had not faced a monster but a protector. The station was saved, largely because of one human and his calm courage. Aliens and humans alike stared in disbelief. The stories they had been told about humans being weak, fragile, and helpless were now lies. One human had done what no alien could imagine. After the battle, Ethan walked through the station corridors, helping crew and civilians. He repaired machines, lifted debris, and guided the injured to safety. He did not boast. He did not seek praise. He simply did what had to be done. Aliens whispered in awe. Humans, they realized, were not weak. Humans adapted, survived, and even thrived under pressure. Lyra followed him quietly. She had fought battles before, but she had never felt pride like this. The human she had dared as a joke to wear her ancestors' armor had become more than a human. He had become a symbol, a reminder that strength was not just physical. It was patience, care, awareness, and courage. It was the heart and mind as much as the body. As the stars moved outside the observation windows, Ethan paused. He looked at the galaxy, at the ships that had fled, and at the station he had saved. He felt the armor humming softly, like it was alive and approving. He understood now that this power was not just about fighting. It was about protecting, understanding, and surviving. He had learned to control it, not to dominate. Aliens came forward slowly, bowing or nodding in respect. Some could not hide their amazement. Humans were no longer the weak species they had believed. A single human had faced overwhelming odds and survived, controlled power, and protected life. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Lyra looked at Ethan and smiled. "The joke, it was never a joke," she said softly. "You were always meant to do this. The armor chose wisely, but you chose the right way to use it." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't choose to fight. I only chose to protect. The armor, it helps me, but it listens to me. It does not force me to be anything I don't want. I only want to help." The elders whispered among themselves. Centuries of knowledge told them this was impossible. Humans were fragile, weak, short-lived. Yet here was proof of something new. Humans could survive, adapt, and awaken hidden potential. Strength was not just born. It was discovered, nurtured, and guided by the heart and mind. And as the night stretched over the station, Ethan and Lyra stood together, watching the stars. The galaxy had seen a human rise, not through violence or greed, but through courage, care, and understanding. The armor had awakened his power, but more importantly, it had revealed the hidden power of humanity itself. The future was uncertain. Other enemies would come. Other fleets would hear the story. But one thing was clear. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. A new legend had begun, and it had started with a joke, an armor, and a human named Ethan Brooks who had proven that the heart could be stronger than any weapon. And in the quiet glow of the armor, Ethan felt ready for whatever came next. He had learned to trust himself, to trust the armor, and to act with courage. The galaxy had changed its view of humanity, and he was at the center of that change. The battle was over, but the station was not yet at peace. Aliens and humans alike moved carefully through the corridors, repairing damage, checking systems, and helping the injured. The enemy fleet had retreated, but their presence had left a mark. The station was shaken, yet intact. In the quiet after the alarms, Ethan walked slowly, the armor glowing faintly around him. He felt its hum, calm and steady, like it was speaking to him in a language only he could understand. Lyra followed closely. She had never felt so proud or so unsettled. The joke she had made, daring a human to wear her ancestors' armor, had changed everything. Ethan had not only survived, but he had protected the station, guided its defense, and awakened hidden qualities that no alien had expected from a human. She realized that the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. Aliens gathered in small groups, whispering. Some spoke with fear, some with respect. Some could not hide their amazement. Humans were no longer weak. One human had faced overwhelming odds, survived, and used power wisely. The news would spread quickly. The galaxy would know that humans were not just survivors. They were adaptable, courageous, and capable of awakening great potential. Ethan moved to the central hub of the station, helping coordinate repairs and check systems. He did not seek recognition, but aliens approached him anyway. Some bowed in respect, others offered thanks. He nodded modestly, guiding them through small repairs and adjustments. He could feel the armor responding to him, enhancing his strength and perception, but never controlling him. It amplified what was already inside: his careful mind, his steady heart, his courage. Lyra stood beside him. "The galaxy will remember this," she said softly. "You have changed everything. Humans, they will not be underestimated again." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't do it for recognition," he said quietly. "I only did what I had to." The armor helped, but it is not the armor. It is us. It is what humans can be when we act with care and courage. Outside the station, emissaries from nearby systems began to arrive. They had heard the story, and they wanted to see the human who had bonded with alien armor. Some came with gifts, some came with questions, some came with fear. They had been taught that humans were fragile, weak, and unimportant. Now they saw proof to the contrary. One human had survived, adapted, and protected life against overwhelming odds. Ethan met them calmly. He answered questions honestly. He demonstrated the armor's abilities carefully, never seeking to impress, never seeking to intimidate. He moved with awareness and thought, guiding small demonstrations that showed control rather than destruction. The emissaries whispered among themselves, astonished. Humans were not what they had been taught. Humans were capable of greatness, strength, and wisdom. Lyra noticed something remarkable. The armor had not only chosen Ethan. It had recognized the qualities of humanity that many aliens had ignored: patience, care, adaptability, and courage. It did not force him to fight. It did not demand obedience. It responded to his heart. And in doing so, it revealed a truth that the galaxy would not forget. Strength is not only physical. It is mental, emotional, and moral. Humans had these qualities in ways aliens often failed to see. The elders of Lyra's people came forward cautiously. They had expected arrogance, recklessness, or violence. Instead, they saw calm control, careful thought, and quiet courage. They spoke among themselves in low tones, realizing that the human before them had achieved what centuries of warriors had failed to do. He had survived the armor, bonded with it, and used its power for protection rather than destruction. Ethan continued to help the station. He repaired engines, guided crew, and coordinated efforts to restore life support and communication systems. He was everywhere at once, yet he never seemed rushed or overwhelmed. The armor amplified his abilities, but it did not dominate him. It was a partner, not a weapon. And in every movement, he demonstrated what the galaxy had begun to understand. Humans could survive, adapt, and rise to challenges in ways no one expected. As the repairs continued, a message arrived from a distant council of systems. They had heard the story and they wanted to send representatives to meet Ethan. Some feared humans, some wanted to ally with them, all were curious. Lyra looked at Ethan. "You will have to meet them," she said softly. "They will want to see your strength. They will want to judge humans now." Ethan nodded. He felt no pride, only responsibility. "I will meet them," he said. "But I will not let them forget what this power is for. It is not for conquest. It is for protection, for survival, for understanding. Humans can be strong, yes, but we also have to be wise and careful." The next days passed quickly. Emissaries came and went, observing Ethan as he moved through the station. He demonstrated the armor's capabilities, repaired systems with speed and precision, and showed patience and care in guiding the crews. Humans who had once felt weak now watched him with pride. Aliens who had once dismissed humans now whispered in respect. The galaxy was beginning to see a new truth. Humans were capable, adaptable, and strong. Lyra stayed beside him, helping coordinate efforts and advising the visiting emissaries. She had been proud of her people's legacy, but now she saw that the future of power might not belong to warriors alone. Humans, with their adaptability and courage, could rise alongside the oldest civilizations. The armor had awakened something hidden in Ethan, but it had also revealed something hidden in humanity itself. One evening, after the emissaries had left, Ethan and Lyra stood at the observation window. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent and vast. Ethan touched the armor, feeling its soft hum. "I never expected this," he said quietly. "I only wanted to help. I never wanted to be this." Lyra smiled gently. "Sometimes the greatest strength comes from what you do not expect. You did not seek power, you only acted with care. And that is why the galaxy will remember you. Humans will no longer be underestimated. They will be respected, even feared in a good way, for what they can do when they rise to the challenge." Ethan looked at the stars, thinking of the battles, the fleet, the station, and the lives he had protected. He understood now that strength was more than muscles or weapons. It was courage, care, patience, and awareness. It was knowing when to act and when to wait. The armor had amplified his abilities, but it had also taught him a lesson. True power lies in using it wisely. The station had survived, and humans had survived with it. For the first time, they were not weak. The galaxy would remember this day, the day when a human had worn alien armor, faced impossible odds, and acted with courage, care, and wisdom. Lyra turned to him. "What will you do now?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "I will continue to help," he said. "I will continue to learn. I will protect those who cannot protect themselves. The galaxy is bigger than we imagined, and there is still much to do. Humans are strong, yes, but strength is nothing without care, and wisdom is nothing without action." The stars continued to shine outside, endless and silent witnesses to the change that had begun. The galaxy had seen a human rise not through violence, not through conquest, but through courage, careful thought, and hidden potential awakened by an ancient armor. Humans would no longer be underestimated. They had begun a new chapter among the stars. And Ethan, with Lyra at his side and the armor glowing softly around him, knew that this was only the beginning. He had survived, adapted, and risen. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans could endure, humans could grow, and humans could be stronger than anyone had ever imagined. The armor hummed, the station glowed faintly, and the stars stretched endlessly beyond. Ethan had become a symbol, not of war or conquest, but of hope, courage, and the hidden strength of humanity. The galaxy would remember the day a human wore alien armor, faced impossible odds, and proved that strength comes from heart, mind, and wisdom as much as it does from power. And so, the story ended, but the legend had only begun.